Hi friends, I hope you can see me. I'm teeny tiny on my screen, and I wonder, if I flip back here, can you see this too? No, it just pauses when you change windows. That's okay. Um, I'm going to stop and begin here at my desktop. Right here. All right. This is my desktop. Look how messy it is. There's stuff everywhere because I need to see that mess in order to find things. My mind, I'm visual and my mind needs to see it. It's not well organized. That's something that I'm working on. One of the I want to guide you through the technology that I use regularly, and I'm going to also land and emphasize Canva because it's something I've been using, like Miriam, for a long, long time. Surely Miriam would have an advance on me because she's from Australia and that's where it all started. However, I have a cousin, Shari Pilo, who lives in Modi'in in Israel, and she is a Canva expert. And she is hired to do workshops and training for Olim in Israel that are starting small businesses, and she teaches them the magic of Canva. Having watched Canva develop over the past years has been amazing. Um, I'll talk about that a little bit later. So yes, this is crazy. I wanted to start by showing you, zeroing in here to this folder here called Jewish Journeys. Jewish Journeys is my creation and beginning to think of what I might be and do, the spiritual community that I might want to create if I were an independent rabbi, which I'm hoping to evolve into. It's part of my process this year. So I'm just opening this folder. These are things that I've gathered that would be helpful, resources and things. The idea of doing weekend retreats. I was offered the chance to do that in Mexico, but I just don't think I'm ready for it. So I'm thinking of that. Um, I wanted to start just for fun by showing you a video here. This is the sound file was a Mother's Day present to me from my children. Here we go. Um, I said, you know what I really want is a jingle. My kids are all very musical, and they made me the jingle, and then using Canva, I produced this ridiculous little video. Here we go. Cantor Paula Baru, Cantor Paula Baru. She's musical and spiritual, and that is the truth. Cantor Paula Baru. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But it's funny. It's funny in our family. Okay. So I'm going out from here and I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to share. I use Google Chrome as my, what do you call that? My browser? Yeah, that's it, my browser. And so I'm going to take you there right now and show you the things I use most often. So this, my friends, is my crazy calendar. At Temple Anshe Shalom, we are using Outlook. I find it a lot. Teams meetings is a thing on this. Um, but I also have a Gmail account and stuff. So, I'm here and there, um, drawing in all those and, our PRS Gmail account as well. So here on Outlook, I've got my calendar, I'm booking things on my calendar. Today was a little crazy. Um, there's things here from work too. Actually, yeah, that is today. Um, Tomorrow, you can see I'm doing a doing an hour long kind of a talk show thing for the Guild of Temple Musicians, interviewing some musicians from the UK and seeing what the Jewish music world is like there. Purim rehearsal is a big thing right now. It's very busy. I had a funeral this morning on the 17th, and tons of people calling me. We're supposed to have freezing rain tomorrow, so figuring out how to modify things tomorrow if need be. So, um, the calendar, the email that's happening here. Um, there's a to-do list that's here that I don't use a lot at all, actually, and I could. It's built in there, but I think about um, if I leave my position at Temple on Shishel, I'm going to lose access to all of this because I have access through my work email. Um, One of the things that we use a lot in here is Teams. And when I open Teams in Outlook, I have access to our admin team. One of the things that I need to do this week, or like every week, but usually Wednesday, is in the admin team when I go in the shared posts. These are all the folders that are shared across our organization. Some are really, really old and and dated, but the main one that I'm looking at each week is, we call it Oneg Shabbat. It is not Oneg Shabbat. It's more of a service schedule. So it's about service support, how we run our services. You can see I've highlighted that this Kabbalat Shabbat, this Friday, the Oneg is being prepared by this couple. They are also sponsoring, so they're paying for the Oneg. Why? Because there's a yahrzeit in that family, Kim's mom, Shirley Lucas. But we also, big news, have a visiting rabbi. Our search committee has identified a choice, and he's coming this weekend. So I'm serving on the Bima with him. Aside from the oneg, which is before the service starts at 7 p.m., we have a dessert oneg following, and we do that sometimes for special occasions. As you can see, it's all logged in here. I'm sliding across. The challah is being baked by Kiana, who's our executive director. On the bima is the cantor and Rabbi Wise, the visiting rabbi. Our announcements are we just began this year. This is like January up here, leading up to the end of the year on the dates over at the side here. So we give announcements of what's coming up at Temple at the end of every service, and we're trying to rotate through our board members. So this week it's Aaron Walsh is on there. The drash is wrong. That's being given this week by Rabbi Wise, so I'm just going to change that there. The entry team, we have like a little breakdown in that right now, and we really have to work on security. So Shelby and Kiana are serving as our entry because it's a big weekend with the visiting rabbi. They actually are employed with us. The live stream this week is also, is this the right date? Yes. It's also wrong. I'm seeing it should be Daniel Warren and David and Miranda were here last week. Okay. So we also have a Zoom host for our people that come online to watch the service, and that rotates through a few people. They are very dependable, and one of them, Michelle Gunn, organizes that and keeps that going. But they have to get the information to us in the office. Honestly, usually to me, I'm the one that's updating, and you can see I'm changing things at the last minute. I put in what the Torah portion is, so knowing where we're focusing and what themes might be happening that week. So with that information, each week on Wednesday usually, I send what I call a Team Shabbat email for the Friday that's coming up. It lists this week everybody who's doing what job, and that's my way of reminding and checking in that everything is correct on our list, that there were no mistakes made, and people will correct, and that helps us be better and have accurate information, because it's a crazy world, isn't it? Okay. So that's kind of looking at what Outlook can do back here. And our different committees that are working are also there, and we can look in and we can share documents and keep our team meeting records there. It's not used efficiently, I would say, but there are at least three members of our board that are business people that use this professionally. So they are very good at it, and they champion and encourage all of us to use it more, especially our lay leaders. So I'm going to just shift that back to calendar, and I honestly keep this I keep this at the front of my browser all the time. So you can see I've got some things pulled up here. I want to start by sharing this site. This is the back end. You can see I've got an administrator access here to our Shul Cloud account. Bless you, Brian, for creating a better and a more reasonably priced thing that synagogues can use. Since my 20 years at Temple Anshe Shalom, we've used hoverware and other precursors, and we landed on Shul Cloud as the newcomer probably about 7 or 8 years ago now, and it was a real learning curve. We were using File Pro, like a really antiquated system for our database for our members, and even Shul Cloud kind of couldn't, we had to pay them a lot to be able to transfer from File Pro, and it was not effective and it did not work well. So it's been a lot of extra lessons for our admin team who take this on. And this is just kind of we don't use this as our main website. But our members can check in. Maybe there are 3 members out of our 300 family members that actually log in and use this to see their transactions or to pay something. However, our main website, if there's something to register for, will lead to this donation page. And when that comes up, so I'm logged in as myself. Yeah, I have an extra name. It's the same name my kids have, Haupt at the end of the Baruch, but I go by Paula Baruch. All my kids have Baruch as the third name, and then the last name Haupt. So here you can, the million funds that synagogues have, many that don't really end up in the general fund, but anyway, I digress. So this is the page. Over here on the side, you can see a few calendar items, and these are being fed off a Google Calendar that we use. We use it as if we were a person using Gmail. So we say Anshe Shalom Hamilton at gmail.com. We don't even have a dedicated Gmail. We have another site. It's so confusing, but this is what we had for a long time, and so it works. So that calendar feed off the Gmail is where we put our programs in, and there's registration links here as well to use, and that will go right into our system. You can see it's also picking up what's happening this weekend. So every Friday I do a Jewish Fun with Baby and Me. I started it a year and a half ago, and it's really it's really served a need for new parents, and has led to membership growth for our temple as well. There's a breakfast that people can register for with the visiting rabbi, I think, who's going to be our next rabbi, and the natural feed here tells us, what the Parsha is this week, and here's our Purim coming up. So that is Shul Cloud. Many different things we can do here, forms that you set up, and a lot of it isn't used, but a lot of it is used. Certainly for our yard sites. They come up here, and every week I'm creating the names I'm going to read out. So that means I have to come in here. We do it by the week. So this week it would run from the Sunday to the Saturday for this week, who will be read out on this Friday. And if I say I only want active accounts and I update the filter, then I'm getting the names that we're going to share this week. I might check to see, are they really members? So in this case, for this individual, I check, and yes, he is a member, and so he would be included on the list. So those are just some of the ways that we're using this technology, that I would use it as clergy as well. And the administrative staff, of course, and our bookkeeper, of course, are using that. So I'm going to get rid of show cloud for a minute. This really horrible looking thing right now is our ansheshalom.ca website, our temple website. It is looking horrible because it is in transition right now of being, it was way out of date. And I asked that it be updated. Our executive director had this dream of really reformatting the whole thing. And so she really put off updating the basic information that people can find on it. So she has our kind of receptionist right now doing it. And she doesn't know how to make it look good, but she is updating the information, which is fantastic. So this is, ridiculous. I mean, everybody right now, since Bondi Beach has an emergency security fund that's happening that helps us pay for security. So that's kind of a main drive right now. This used to be the header. You can see myself there, confirmation picture, and it's a slider. So just kind of pictures of different things. We're the oldest Reformed synagogue here in Canada, founded in 1850. So we really care about that. Down here we have a really thriving religious school, and registration is there. We have a security policy. Obviously, everyone does. This also used to be up at the top, and I actually made these visuals back before we had an executive director. There was no one to do the website, and as program director, I didn't want to create programs that nobody had an easy way of visualizing and had interesting graphics. So that's really been an evolution and something that I took on that I shouldn't have. This is WordPress, and it's open here so that I could do things. So you wouldn't see this if you were visiting the website yourself. But this is a proprietary tweaking of a WordPress template that is offered to us as one of the choices by the URJ, the Union for Reform Judaism, and RJ Web Builder. Man, I have to say, I've been through the first, the second, and the third of these, and it's always behind by 2 or 3 years what WordPress has to offer. So it always kind of feels chunky and not great for me. I'm going to just jump to people So in the About Us, if you go to the clergy page right now, I'm the only clergy person right now, and there's a little bit about me. We see that we have a rabbi soon to be announced, and Rabbi Jordan Cohen, who was my husband, retired out of illness and such officially in March 2025. But in August 2024, he couldn't work anymore, and then that's when I had my heart surgery, and life continued uniquely with lots of changes. So that's one of the things that we use at our temple. You have to have a way of communication, and the way that I actually found MailChimp and made this our choice. Before that, we were sending out a physical bulletin every month, and we had someone in the office that worked on this, and she refused to learn anything new, and it was hugely frustrating. And eventually, I took it on. I took on the bulletin. I said, let's make a digital bulletin. Like, it was a long time coming. So I want to show you how this works. So in MailChimp, I'm just in the process of kind of making a sample one here so that you could see. So I'm picking the template. Come on. Okay. So this is what it looks like. I pick a template that we've used before just so that you can see how it works. We always have the header at the top. This year we had the header. It was our 175th year, so it's kind of a special header, but normally our logo looks like this blue version, right? We're reminding people not to come. We always begin with the header This Week in Temple. We actually, behind the scenes, call this weekly email, which is sent out every Wednesday at noon. So it'll go out tomorrow. But this is last week's, actually. We call it the TWIT in-house, This Week in Temple. You can see we have a visual, and these visuals here are all made in Canva and added in. Who's going to be on deck for services? I'm usually always there unless I'm on vacation or something. This is one of our members, David Rayfield, and he was serving with me on the Bima this week. So it always shows Friday, Kabbalat Shabbat, what's happening with the Onag, who sponsored it, and if it's in memory of someone, the service, who's on the Bima. I don't put if I'm giving the drash, which I was that evening, who's giving the drash, but if it's a guest that's giving the drash or a member that I've asked to give the drash, then it would say the drash this week is by whoever's giving it. In the morning, it highlights what the parsha is, Shabbat Mishpatim. I'm leading the morning service and the Torah study. After that, that's our timing. And religious school also happens on Shabbat. So but this particular weekend past, there was no school because it was Family Day weekend here, I think President's Weekend in the U.S. And so there's notice. So every week I'm offering a short drash. This week on Mishpatim. This header will be changed to be our new rabbi. So like the editing side is over here on the right. So if we do hire this rabbi, it would be Rabbi Michael Wise. So, he would be, and this would be his signature and so on. Here's a notice from the Rabbi Search, what's happening and the schedule for this coming big weekend. We had a Learn to Make Hamantaschen for Purim, and you could register there. So these buttons can link, when you have a picture like this and you're editing in the picture, you can put a link in it. For here, the link goes to a place where you can register. Look, it's on our Shul Cloud. You can register for that program, and so that we have the names and everybody ready, knowing who is coming. Here you can see our Muppets Purim is coming up on March 2nd, you can. There's no registration for that. It's open to anyone to come. We have a movie series where people come, hang out. We have an actors workshop coming up, open mic night that we're planning, offerings to raise money for the religious school, Passover flowers. This is my program, Jewish Fun with Baby and Me, every Friday morning. We end with thank yous to everyone who was involved in the past week, the list of birthdays for us, and tzedakah. Anyone who donated, they're acknowledged in the twit. Finally, we will have our yahrzeits here, who is in the period of Shloshim, and what names are being read out and acknowledged this week. Our community news, so what we get from Federation and other organizations, we keep down here. You can see Jewish Family Services is doing a Cafe Europa. It's mostly for the Russian Jews in our area, our seniors, and I'm offering music at that. That is February 26th, next week, the busy week that we're going to be tortured with lots of extra weeks. So fun for me. Leading up to Purim and our Muppet show, we kind of tweaked our logo at the end to have a little fun. So that's MailChimp. You might use MailChimp or Constant Contact. They're very similar. And, even though we are just going back to the main thing here of MailChimp, even though we are a congregation of 300 family units, our audience, or who we send it out to, we now have a total of 982 contacts as well. I'm not showing you Facebook as well. I really worked hard to get us up to 1,000 because I think that's a different category in Facebook members on our Temple Facebook page. So now I want to look at Canva shortly. How's my time running? I don't know, but I will edit this if it doesn't go well. I've been on Canva, as I said, for many years. I've dabbled and played with it. Before Canva, for my programs that I was running as cantor and program director, I needed a way to make a good visual for each program. And I found something called Poster My Wall. And I used that because it was so better than using Microsoft images and stuff like that, which our person in the office was using. And it just looked so old school and the fonts were like not good. Poster My Wall gave me new options to make things look more modern and better. And then when Canva came along, that really blew that out of the water. As you know, in Canva, you can make beautiful graphics and visuals. When you move to create something, you have all these different kind of choices. And now I think 2 or 3 years ago, they kind of launched that they were incorporating AI into it. They had a big kind of splash video thing for everyone who's a member, who has an account or a subscription, pro account, which I do to Canva. Um, and by the way, I always paid for that on my own as a cantor. I know I shouldn't. It should be a congregational expense, but I wanted the best, and I was willing to pay for it to do the best at my work. You can make videos now. You couldn't always when this was beginning. Kind of before that, you'd see. You're going to make a flyer, you want a presentation, that's like a slide presentation, an Instagram post, so it's already comes up with the size you want. Example, I wanted to make an Instagram post, it comes up the size I want. There's all kinds of templates that I can choose to use, and I can describe, let's say I'm doing a Purim program. I don't know if that'll have anything. Let's see if there's a template. Oh, look. Yeah, right away I can choose, we wish you a happy Purim, and say, oops, Temple Anshe Shalom. And, I might go over here and say, like, I've done a lot of uploads. So in my uploads, I would say the Temple Anshe Shalom logo. Can you find it for me? Yeah, here it is. Put that in. And I know it's not a very good poster, but you get the idea. Like you can just do all kinds of things with that. So going back home for me here, all my projects. Okay. Just some things I've made in the past. I looked at this and I was just playing with new things on Canva. I think I must have made this 3 or 4 years ago. Um, and because they had this thing where you could now make a video. And I made this. Let's just hear. I think I put music to it. Here, very Jewy, right? I put our logo on it. I put moving video in the background because that was new, highlighting the different names of Passover. Oh, look, that was fun. You could move things, and so I kind of made our logo into a Seder plate. I'm sure I had fun with that. And just, put that on social media as a fun thing for people to see and kind of highlighting the brand of Temple Anshe Shalom. Okay. That was fun. A couple of things that I've done that I'm really proud of in Canva and how we use it, I would say. Let me just, this is a great example of a header that we'll use in MailChimp every time there's a departed one and we're announcing a funeral. This is the funeral I just did this morning. This is the header that I designed and that we use at the top of the condolence message that will go out to everyone in MailChimp. Just going back so I can show you. So a couple of things I did in the past that I might use again in the future as I'm developing my independent Jewish offerings is I did something called A Year of Torah. It actually was a podcast, and these are some of the visuals I had with it. So my goal was I wanted to chant through the entire Torah. So on Sundays, I would devote to recording me chanting the Torah portion, and I would make a visual that looked like this for whatever portion it was and when it was. I think this year, oh, well, it was 5780, the year I did it. Um, and you can calculate yourself what that is. And I would chant through the portion, and I had a podcast on Bean. That's, now I've deleted it and taken it down. But each week I would put up on Sunday, I would put up that week's Torah portion. I would have the visual, and you would hear my voice. And believe it or not, like people subscribe to it. I don't know, like, oh, the most boring thing in the world, but hearing the Torah portion chanted. And the goal for me and the joy for me was being able to say that I chanted through the entire Torah. Because normally we may not chant the Torah every week in our Reform synagogue. And when we do chant Torah, it may be only, um, you know, Aliyah Rishon, the first Aliyah for an Orthodox or conservative synagogue wouldn't be entirely read. It would just be three Aliyot, that would end up being, I don't know, 15, 16 verses of Torah only. Okay, so that's a year of Torah. Another thing that I did, which I thought was really cool and visual, was what I called Midrash messages. And in this series, each I made some general ones, but also each week I would take the Torah portion and I would pull out a phrase from one of the verses of Torah, not the entire verse, just a phrase from a verse. So this is for people who are interested in knowing Hebrew more, acquainting themselves with Hebrew. And I'd attach a visual in the background that would work or would be a midrash, kind of visual midrash for me about what I was thinking of when I read those words. And I recently branded it with what I'm exploring and wanting to call Jewish Journeys with Cantor Paula Baruch. So I'm just kind of playing with that brand down there on some of them and seeing what that would look like. Canva is amazing. So many things you can do when you are designing something. You can pull out a shape, a graphic, anything you want. They have videos ready to add to it. You can upload a picture and remove the background. Remember how hard that was in the past? Now it's like with AI, you can do that right away. I'm not going to show you any more of those, and I think I've reached the conclusion of my time. So that is my use of Canva, how I use it, and I think we'll continue to use it. It's been a godsend for sure, for sure, for sure. You can see I used it for, this is an interesting way I used it. Just an aside, I did a concert for our 175th. I used it to make this document because it was easier to make visually than it would have been in Microsoft or in Pages. The concert stage plan, each song I was doing where everyone was standing. I'm CB, Cantor Baruch. The next song we were moving to that part, so that everyone had a visual about where they were on the stage that we set up and all the pieces and where they were happening. So such a good to help visually organize things for people as well. I'm going to stop sharing and come back to conclude. I love technology. I really do. Because of my health changes with open heart surgery and all the changes in my life, leaving a marriage and selling a home and finding a new place and struggling to learn how to take care of myself financially and food-wise, actually. It's been a challenge to do all that, but it's also been a pleasure. And I hope to get back to learning more and being on top of the technical possibilities that are open to us today. So I really appreciate this class and I appreciate your learning. Thank you so much.